that everything's right side. Right side teams usually favor right, and that's one of the things as coaches you're looking at to make sure you're not predictable, because other coaches in the team in the stands are scouting that and they're picking up on these things. Where do they make that first pass? Where's
Good
the
point.
entry pass?
Good point.
And that's 4 straight times, Joe, Methacton has turned the ball over without a lot of pressure.
Right.
You have to go after Methacton. You have to go after them with that pressure.
Here's Gowdy at the top of the key. Christie, the right wing, back to Gowdy. Arizari. Gowdy had a good look. Bounced it off the front rim.
Good ball reversal there. That's what you want. But see, that's it. That's what I was talking about earlier. I'd like to see him square, go to the basket, challenge, instead of pass and catch and pass again.
Nice shot by Darnell Gowdy from the about 13 feet away. Nice jump shot.
Good ball movement there. They looked inside, got a good shot in the paint. You like that. Now that you won't like. On the defensive end, you don't want to give up baseline and you don't want to foul in the paint. That's positive, negative. You score down that end, you give up 2 down this end.
Sally Pearson, his first team third.
On the line is number 34, John Hanrahan, a sophomore forward for the Warriors.
This would be one of the times, Joe, I probably wouldn't be holding for the last shot. I would like us to get down, get a good look, good shot, and then put the pressure on and see if we can up it some more. We'll see what Norristown does with 20 seconds left and a 5-point lead. It looks like they're going to hold for the last shot. 14 out. I mean, there's no value of taking a quick shot. Now work it inside.
Now, when will they start the play? About now?
At 8 seconds. Our thought was we didn't want any shot taken unless it was 8 seconds or less. For that reason, it's a 3-second rebound from the time of release to the time it starts is 3 seconds. So we didn't want a shot taken anything less than 8 seconds. That would start the play.
All right, that's the end of the first quarter with Norristown with a 5-point lead, 15-10. Bronson has been a force inside.
I would think that Methacton is very happy at this point that they're at a 5-point game, and Norristown wouldn't be as happy because they haven't put the numbers on the board that they're capable of putting on, and that they've given up 10 points. And that may not seem like it's a lot, but Methacton has turned the ball over 5 possessions of their last 6, and you need to convert those into points. I haven't seen that defensive intensity yet from Norristown.
I agree with you.
That we've seen the last couple of weeks. When they turn it on, the defensive intensity really creates their points.
I think sometimes teams have a tendency to play down to their opponents sometimes.
Yeah, and as a coach, you can't allow it. You can't tolerate it. You know, if you find the right combination of players, someone's going to be that spark plug that's going to excite the players, and maybe he'll tamper with the lineup a little bit to find someone who's going to be the catalyst and get everybody moving.
I'd like to mention, Bob, that the crowd tonight is a little bit disappointing, especially in light of the fact that the Eagles seem to be gelling as a team. I think Coach Michaels' decision over the holidays to make some changes has worked, and the team is starting to come together. Certain problems have been eliminated from the squad, and it really is disappointing to see such a sparse crowd tonight. It's these boys work very hard. They go to class. They practice, and again, it's the best ticket in town, as Coach McGee says. And it would be nice to see the crowds get bigger, especially as the Eagles seem to improve.
I like what you said, Joe. I think the team is playing with more chemistry right now. I don't see anybody that seems to be selfish. They're looking for each other. Now here's a great case. They're moving around. We don't see any one person looking to shoot all the time.
Right.
A lot of players, and that's one of the ingredients to have a successful team. It's nice to have a go-to player, but it's critical to have 5 players who think they can score.
Right.
It makes it so much tougher for the defense to play when you have 5 players that can put the ball in the hole.
That was a nice drive, a nice penetrating drive by Arizari. Misplayed the pass inside. Methacton's ball, 15-10, 7.5 minutes to go, second period.
You see, coach might be unhappy with the turnover, but he's going to be pleased on the other side with the effort to go inside, the penetration. It's a positive mistake.
Right.
Now here we go. It looks, well, see now you're only pressuring one player. There you go. The trap, they're not going to be able to handle the pressure.
Arizari, a 3-pointer from the left wing. 18-10 Eagles. Oh. Bronson with a rebound. Here comes Gowdy. Yeah, hand right.
34.
34 right there. 34.
Okay, John. He gets up.
Foul Lethbridge is first, team 3. Pearson on the line, shooting 2.
Here's Terry Pearson, obviously recovered from a bruised thigh. You know what I also noticed, Bob? Bronson is playing more. He seems to have gotten more stamina.
And I'm sure they're working
stronger.
hard in practices on that because he's a major asset to this team.
Right.
And see, the defensive pressure's picked up.
I had a chance to speak with Bronson before the game. Very nice young man.
I like his demeanor on the court. He's a worker. I do think the issue, he's not in shape where he needs to be yet, but he seems very team-oriented, and he seems to understand when he should shoot and when he shouldn't. He seems to know his spot on the court, when it's there, to pull the trigger.
Nice drive inside. There's your penetration again, Bob.
I'm telling you, it's going to be there. They have the opportunity to penetrate and score.
This guy, Bob Cott, seems to know his stuff.
Yeah, here we go. Now they're starting to run the court. It was 15-10.
Yep.
Methacton hasn't scored for a couple minutes.
Right.
It's 21-10. And I think we're going to see it blow in the next couple minutes.
Nice play inside again.
It seems to me that Norristown's defensive tempo is picking up.
Yep.
And Methacton's getting one shot at the basket.
Yep.
Good in and out move, but see, that wouldn't fly. That's not acceptable from my perspective. You make a good in and out move, what they call an in and out move. It has the defender on his heels, and then instead of going up 2 hands on a layup, takes a one-hand layup, you want to finish that shot.
Right.
You want to go up 2 hands and get the foul and get the basket.
Christie, a beautiful, smooth jump shot from the right wing. Methacton calls timeout. Norristown is starting to put separation between themselves and the Warriors.
And that's Methacton's second timeout. And in the previous timeout, it was 15-10.
Right.
And we're now looking at a 26-10 spread. I don't see it getting better for Methacton.
Right.
They're going to get one and done. Norristown's rebounding. They're now recognizing the fast break. They're pushing it out. I've noticed, too, that Methacton, when they take their shot, there's 3 guys at the boards. They're going to need to send more people back when that shot goes up. You're 1 and 2 then if they're not shooting. Have to be anticipating miss. Negative statement, I realize, but you have to anticipate to stop the transition. You want to have 2 guys back. One isn't going to cut it with Norristown on that fast break.
I don't think it's any coincidence that this Eagles spurt, this 11-point spurt, coincides with the entry into the game of Arizari.
I agree. I like the way he runs. He's going to push the ball up the court, and certainly Mr. Bronson's getting the rebounds and outletting. He's getting the ball out to players who can move the ball down the court. I still would like to see more pressure here.
Boy, Bob, you're right. They're just getting one shot, and Norristown's just sweeping the board.
They're not going to get 2s and 3s right now.
Absolutely not. It's not going to happen.
And what he'll be forced to do is start moving players back to protect the basket. That means he's going to get less rebounds.
Blocked by Bronson. Here come the Eagles.
I see how it's gravitating to the right side again, Joe.
Yep.
He started, it looked like he was going to go left, and still came back to the right. Okay, it's good. Now we're working both sides of the court.
I see what you're saying. In and out. I was halfway down the cylinder, and it spun out.
Let's see, here's the other side of that coin. It was 9 passes made on that series, and we end up with a 3-point shot. We didn't even get the ball inside on a touch once or made the gap penetration. My thought is you can get that shot anytime. You know, there's not a lot of work to get a 3-point shot.
Right.
It's getting the ball inside. It's that gap penetration that is what you want. Thought he might have taken an extra step on that, Joe.
It looked that way.
Yeah, he kind of looked it. See, you see
34 went hard to the basket, young Hanrahan, and it looked like he took an extra step.
Yeah, you see the foul situation here too, Joe. It's 4-3,
yes.
And on the one side you would be concerned over a lot of fouls, but I think sometimes for Norristown, when they're really aggressive, really hustling, they're going to commit some fouls, but they're also going to pick up some points out of it. It seems like they're very conservative defensively now. I just like to see that aggressiveness pick up.
And I think Norristown is deep enough on the bench that they can afford to be a little bit more aggressive. If somebody gets in foul trouble, they can plug somebody else in.
With tonight's opponent, there's not much of an issue. They should be able to go very deep in the bench and not lose anything. (26-11). 3:40 to play in the second quarter. Norristown seems to be in control. Now, this is where you've got to get it to the middle. You've got to get it to the gap.
There's another follow-up by Bronson. Bronson has 10 points. Nice rebound, nice outlet pass. Gowdy slows it down.
Back into the game.
Tony Ellis on the travel, took one too many steps. That's going to happen fresh off the bench. 2:46 to play. Norristown leading by a score of 28-11.
See, none of those, Joe, are threatening. They're non-threatening passes. The movements are non-threatening. As a defensive player, it's easy for you. You know where the offense is. You worry about the player splitting the seams of the zone, and that's what I think Norristown should be looking to do.
Bob, we mentioned earlier in the game about team discipline. As a former coach, did you find, or do you find that the athletes today, the high school athletes today, are more resistant to discipline, or do you think? What's your thoughts on it?
I don't think so. If you have the reputation, if you come in with that right from the beginning, I think you have to set the table from day one on that. And that starts with practice, it starts with your team meetings. Kids are very quick to understand where the discipline is. If you don't have it, they're like piranhas, they'll take advantage of it. If, on the other hand, they know what your reputation is or that you're a very disciplined coach, they're not going to take advantage of it, because understand that there's sanctions if you don't comprehend or follow the rules.
And that applies to the athletes 15 years ago as well as today.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's another travel. That's 2 travel calls on Mr. Ellis.
And it's his footwork, Joe. His footwork isn't catch and receive. He hasn't planted. He needs to establish that left as the pivot foot and square up. And I don't think he's quite sure with his footwork what he wants to do.
Kent Smith back in the game.
See, I like that move. I like that double inside when Ken's in there and Mr. Bronson's in it. There you go.
There it goes. A minute 34 to go. Norristown with a 17-point lead.
I think you could tell Jason's a football player. He had no reservations about going after him and the ball on that shot. I mean, he went after it and looked up and said, you know, not a big deal.
Adamick is out of the game. One for 2 for
Norristown shooting 50% for the game on the foul line, Joe.
Come playoff time, unacceptable.
Not acceptable. Not acceptable. As you develop during the season, you want to see those numbers go up. See, as coaches, you love to see that hustle.
Exactly
you want to see those knees dirty. You want to see them bruised. You want to see them hustle and go after loose balls. Both teams did that.
Ever since Kent Smith broke into the starting lineup, he's shown nothing but hustle and heart. Nice player.
Yeah, he's very team-oriented. He's a hustler. He just does his job.
Nice block by Pearson. Pearson came out of nowhere, swatted that ball away. I told Pearson before the game that the most valuable player tonight would get a trip to Disney World. I guess he's taking me seriously.
He might hold you to that.
Right. That I don't need.
But at this point in the game, though, I think you're safe. It's got to be Mr. Bronson.
Right, I agree. Wild shot. 34 seconds to go. 31-13 the Eagles.
See, in that last thing, players are taught if you can't grab it, tip it. And Methacton players have been doing that all night. It hasn't been successful until the last possession. Methacton's player couldn't grab it. He tipped it, and number 4 from Methacton, Mr. Hussey, got the loose ball. But that's one of the things you teach your players. If you can't get the inside position or you can't get 2 hands on the ball, tip it. Now you have a 50% chance that someone else on your team will get it.
Norristown's ball under their own basket. 7 seconds to go. Gowdy with a 3. And that's the end of the first half, with Norristown leading the Methacton Warriors 34-13. I think our pregame predictions are coming true here. Methacton is simply having a very difficult time keeping up with the Eagles' speed and their athleticism.
Yeah, and I think, as we said before, the athleticism, the inside play of Norristown, and I think at any given time, if Norristown decides to turn on to the next level, they're going to put a lot more points on the board. I still would like to see Norristown penetrate more, work both sides of the court with their passes, look at inside game with Mr. Smith and Mr. Bronson, and do a better job on the foul line. Shooting 50% for the first half isn't going to be something that they're going to be happy with. On the defensive end, I know we're looking at a 34-13 spread, so a full court press isn't going to be real valuable. It's not going to make a lot of people happy, but picking up the defensive tempo in the half-court game is something they can do. More trapping, and you're always, Joe, the thought process is you're always looking to the next game as a coach, and you're always looking to see areas that you can improve.
I understand.
And that's instinctive. I think that's what coach is looking to do, or certainly will be trying to do, with the next opponent in mind, and 3-4 games down the line with playoffs. The inside game, what can we do offensively, defensively to make ourselves better? And start stretching out the bench. You want a long bench getting into playoffs. And, and these are the kind of games that are going to give you the opportunity to create a long bench.
All right, thank you very much, Bob. We'll be back with the start of the second half again. At the end of the first half, it's Norristown 34, Methacton 13. We'll be back with the start of the second half in just a moment.
I'm here, but I don't get out.